Hey, Sub2ers, my name is William Tingle of Sub2Deals.com. I'd like to welcome you to this episode of the Sub2 Deal Show, where we talk about all things subject to. Now, occasionally we will cover other real estate investing topics, but it will always be something to help you with your real estate investing business. Today is another episode in our Real Expert series where we feature real investors who are also considered real experts in one or more aspects of real estate investing. They share their expertise on various topics that are critical to your success as a real estate investor. Our experts are all experienced investors doing deals across the country who have a high level of success in one or more areas and who have agreed to share some of their best tips and strategies in these areas. We don't have a lot of sales pitches here, guys, just the things that are working in their businesses and in their markets. And these things can work for you too. So pay attention and take lots of notes. My guest today is well-known investor and marketer Richard Roop. Now, I've heard of Richard since I got started investing back in 1999. So he's been around for a while. Now, Richard's area of expertise, one of many, is marketing. That's what we're going to talk about today. Richard is a real estate investor currently living in Texas. He's been investing for over 24 years. And just an incredibly successful investor and marketer, and we're super excited to have him today. So, Richard, welcome to the Sub2 Deal Show.
I'm pretty excited to be here, William.
We're super excited to have you here. I know everybody's always talking about what can I do to get more deals. So I said, man, I've got to have this guy on the show, talk to him about what's going on, what's working, and that sort of thing. So we're super excited to have you here. Well, let's get started. Tell us a little bit about yourself, about your background and what you did before real estate and what your specialty is.
Okay, well, I've always been like a little entrepreneur all my life. I wanted to get rich. My uncle got rich being involved with Silicon Valley. He actually was involved with Atari startup. He sold his interest back, made millions of dollars, and it's like, I want to do that. And I found out that he learned electronics in the Air Force. And I didn't have any money to go to college or anything, so I actually joined the Air Force to learn electronics to become rich. Well, obviously, that's not how you do it. You got to be an entrepreneur. So while I was in the Air Force, for 5 years. My last 2.5 years, I was stationed in Alaska where I met my wife, and I started Richard Roop Marketing and Advertising. I was an opportunity seeker, so I was ordering these $10 books on how to get rich doing whatever. And one of those was publish a coupon book. And so actually, remember when the Mac came out in 1984? I bought the Mac and I actually started a little graphic design business, advertising business, and I published the military discount coupon book. And that was my first business. And I did that for a couple years. Then I wanted to get out of the service and become an entrepreneur. I did that. My wife got stationed in Hawaii. So I got out and I got to move to Hawaii. And I became an investment broker for about 6 months during October remember the Black Monday, October of 1987? I was an investment broker, and I was actually the number one broker in the office because I was telling everybody to short the market. But it wasn't a good deal for the customers. It was kind of like a boiler room type of situation, even though they were fancy offices and they were all over the new, TV and everything. So I became marketing director for one of the speakers that would come in and teach stuff was Dr. Ted James. He taught NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, personal growth and development courses, communication courses. And I built his company for 6 years while I was in-house. And then I sold my interest back. It became a multi-million-dollar company. And that's where I learned marketing. I studied all the gurus, Dan Kennedy, Gary Halbert, Ted Nicholas, Jay Abraham. And I became so good at marketing, I figured I could just go out and work with any business, right? And I wanted to expand my options. While I was there, William, I I got some real estate investing courses off of TV, free local seminar, that type of thing. And I bought my first house, no money down, in 1987 using my VA eligibility. It was a brand new townhome. And then a year later, I bought another one, and I rented the other one out. And then a year later, I sold both of them for twice what I paid for.
Mhm.
Okay. And this was, they're in a very hot market when the Japanese were buying up property, and it was their housing bubble. Okay. So I did really well, and I got the real estate bug. So when I decided to move back to the mainland, I was a marketing consultant, but very shortly, I got Ron LeGrand's course,
Oh yeah.
his 3 course modules. I went to his convention. I bought all his stuff, and it was great stuff. And within 4 months, I started using my marketing background, creating marketing tools. I was able to start buying houses, not the junker houses, the flips, the fix and flips type thing. My first one was that, but there wasn't enough leads. Most people had pretty houses. Most people had more, owed more on the house than I could buy all cash, right? So then I started doing the creative financing, I buy on lease option, and then I said, well, they started changing the rules, and I said there was some problems, so I started buying subject to,
Mhm.
and so I started buying houses. Became very successful. I bought over 500 houses between 1996 and 2015. And in 2000, I started becoming popular at real estate events as the marketing guy. So I started teaching and consulting other real estate investors, and I built my you know my 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 publishing company over the years from that. So that's how I got started. Is I bought those houses in Hawaii, made so much money, got the bug, and then as a marketing guy, I could sell other people's, help other people build their businesses, or I could sell my own product. Well, the product that I decided, William, is I wanted houses, and I didn't want to be a real estate agent. So
Mhm.
I became a creative real estate investor.
I got you. I know when I got started, it was a Carlton Sheets course. As a matter of fact, I posted a question yesterday on the forum. I said, how many of you guys have owned or currently own a Carlton Sheets course? And there are like 80 responses to that thread this morning, just since last night. And everybody had a Carlton Sheets course.
Well, I got to tell you, I got his course in December of 1995,
Mhm.
and I thought it was kind of weak. I needed more information. So I went on the internet and I looked up no money down real estate, and that's where I found Ron LeGrand the next month.
Yeah, I had watched that infomercial forever. It was one of those things. TV's funny, and this is what I find, especially with infomercials. There are certain ones that if you're walking through, the room and the TV's on, and there are certain infomercials on, it just stops you in your tracks and you just start watching. And I guess it's some kind of marketing thing or whatever. You probably know about that. But Carlton Sheets was always one of them. And I would sit there and watch it till it would go off, and I would go, man, that's really interesting. But I'm telling you, I've been in the restaurant business for 20 years, and I've just gotten so tired of it. One night, I just ordered it. And the next day, 6 weeks later, I bought a house. So, you're right. It is a little, he covers a lot of territory. It's very wide, but not very deep. But he exposes you to so many concepts, and there's everything in the world in there. And here
Yeah,
we
you
are.
makes you hungry. But
Yeah,
yeah, you start seeing the possibilities.
but and then you have to go to someone like Ron LeGrand or Bill Bronchick or somebody like that to really get the depth in that. So, and then
That's
discovering
right.
subject to, man, those were the two greatest days of my life. I can buy as many houses as I want and never have to go to the bank.
Yeah, I most of my deals were subject to deals.
Mhm.
And then later I started targeting free and clear houses where I could buy with owner financing with
Right.
0% finance.
Right. So your first couple of personal residences are what got you kicked off in real estate, and then you made all that money. So then you said, "Well, there must be more to this than
Well,
that."
what I did is I bought those 2 houses and I sold them, and I bought this luxury executive home in Hawaii for like $410,000 or $425,000. And that was the money I got out of those other deals.
Right.
And then that was like in 1990, but in around 1994, when I decided to leave the company I was building and become a marketing consultant, I actually saw that the market was turning. Okay, because they had they had their housing bubble, And I wanted to sell my house and move to the mainland, and there was no houses that had sold for over 400,000 in the last year. So what I did is I read a book, How to Sell Your Home in 5 Days.
Oh,
And
Efros.
yes, yes.
Yeah, I
And
remember
I
that.
read his book, that round robin bid sell.
Hmm.
But he said just run a classified ad, and I said, well, that's pretty weak marketing. So I created an advertorial. I put my advertorial in the paper. I copied that and put it on postcards and sent it to doctors and veterinarians and people I thought had money. And I ran, so I did a lot more marketing, a lot of signs, and I had one open house. I had 60 people at my open house, and I was able to find my buyer that one weekend, for more for more than $400,000.
Right.
And so I wrote a book because it took me 9 days of marketing, William. It took me 9 days, so I wrote a book, How to Sell Your Home in 9 days.
Oh, there you go. That's right. Now that executive home in Hawaii, there was $400,000. What do you think that thing would sell for today?
Oh, over a million. Well, yeah, we actually took our coaching clients on a cruise around the islands about, I don't know, 10 years ago. And
Right.
so we stopped, and I went to the neighborhood and checked it out. And it was a brand new neighborhood. It was a brand new house because it
Right.
is actually, we bought it before it was built. We picked the lot, an ocean view lot, and it's more of a rundown neighborhood now. But
Right.
today, probably $2 million,
Yeah.
I would
It's
imagine.
it's insane there. I know. I took my family to Hawaii for 6 weeks, and this was like in 2000, I believe it was. And you're right. I was shocked, first of all, that the population seems to be the majority Japanese in Hawaii. I guess that for some reason they've migrated there. And then secondly, that a lot of the multi-million dollar properties are on long-term leased land. So that was a
Yeah,
little bit different.
it's not fee simple. It's leased
Yeah,
land. You never own the land. The
yeah.
Hawaiians own the land.
But they got that volcano over there making more land every day.
I know.
You know what I mean? So that's
Well,
pretty
I used to go to the Big Island all the time to
cool.
do when we would present seminars. We'd bring people from the mainland to the Big Island, and that's where we would
Right.
hold our seminars. And I was out there when there was a whole subdivision near the volcano, and the
Hmm.
volcano erupted, and it wiped out the subdivision, and
Yeah.
it created all this new land
Yeah,
on the
that's
ocean.
right. That's right. That was Hawaii's great. I
I
know we
loved it.
loved it when we were out there. Like I said, we went and stayed for 6 weeks. We rented it was actually a hotel with a kitchenette right there on Waikiki, about a block off the beach. So I mean, it was pretty awesome. You can, and that's one of the great things about you, Richard. Something here about wanting to be rich. And I think a lot of people get into this thing with the mindset, I just want to be rich. I want to be rich. I want to make all this money. But what you learn after you're in this for a little while, the money's great. It's the freedom to do what you want to do, you know, that makes a
Well,
difference.
well, you, recently I did a program called 7-Figure Lifestyle Business Challenge,
Mhm.
right? And that is getting really clear on creating a business that fits your lifestyle. Now,
Mhm.
you don't have to make 7 figures, but it's like, okay, if money was no object and you can do whatever you want, what would you do? And sometimes when people really get in touch with that, they realize they don't need all this money. What you want is that freedom,
Right,
right? And you can do that on a very small budget,
right.
and be happy about it.
That's right.
It's more of the inner game, the ego. It's like, okay, I want to impress
Mhm.
everybody, right? Well, I went through all that. I had the nicest house in Woodland Park, Colorado. I drove the nicest cars. I did whatever I want. I made more money than I needed, and guess what? I spent it all.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
so um so I wanted to so I'm okay with building, equity for the future. But yeah, just generate enough money. This is a part-time business where you can handle your income needs, and get all your debts paid off, and just the only debt that you have is investment debt, that
Right.
has a return.
Yeah.
And I think everybody should get rid of all their consumer debt, and have plans. So I think for order for people to be successful, they should really have a good vision of where they want to be 5 years from now, 2 years from now, 1 year from now, and work on that plan.
Yeah,
The
you're
I
absolutely
the I the ideal situation without any limitations. Okay, if I could do anything, what would I do? And get clear on that. And guess what? Once you get clear on something, some type of goal,
mhm,
and a goal has, by definition takes time. Once you get clear on that, you'll actually then see the path.
mhm.
Okay. You don't, a lot of people don't set outrageous goals because they don't know how they're going to do it. Forget about that. Decide what you want, and then the how will come.
Right. I agree. You know, and
That's
that's
the
a
secret of
couple of years
success.
ago, I actually, what I found with a lot of students was they get a little bit overwhelmed. You know, they see the videos or these seminars or whatever talking about these people buying 50 houses a month. And it just seems so overwhelming. You got to have 20 VAs, you got to do this and that. And I started teaching and I called it 12 Houses to Freedom. You can buy one house a month, every month, work 20, 25 hours a month and make over $500,000 a year if you structure things right, plenty of money, you're debt free, you can live whatever life you want.
It's a part-time business with
Mhm,
very, you can do very well, very part-time. So you can have the freedom, you can have another business. Like I have another business. My business
mhm,
is helping real estate investors be successful, right?
right,
So that's a different business, right?
right,
But so I've always had those two businesses. Those are the two best businesses on the planet. So if you're looking for like a lifestyle business, it's information marketing
right,
and real estate entrepreneurship. And I call it real estate entrepreneurship
right,
because we teach people, I would imagine you teach people, William, that you're not really investing your money to make money. You're making money by solving people's problems as an entrepreneur. You're not getting a return on money that you've invested. Like,
right.
there's people, they want to buy a rental property and they're looking at what's my return on my cash, right? Well,
Mhm.
I don't put cash in property.
Exactly, exactly.
So you want to be a real estate entrepreneur with an entrepreneurial mindset. And today, thanks to the lockdown and everything, now we're in a virtual world, a new world where you can now do business virtually. Because it'd be always good in the past if you could do that, but now the sellers and the people you want to do business with are willing to do Zoom calls, are willing to do virtual business. So that kind of expands things. But I still think, even though you can go nationwide, and some people are teaching that, that's fine. But there's so many advantages just to be a big fish in a small pond, somewhere close to where you live, where you want to dominate an area.
Yeah,
And
I totally
yeah.
agree with that. You know, we talked a little bit before we got on the call about that for years I operated in a relatively small market, Macon, Georgia, and bought 3 to 5 houses a month. And the only reason I started buying remotely was when I moved out of the country. I didn't have any choice. But you're exactly right. I used to tell a story about one day I was in Home Depot. We were doing a rehab. And I walked by a couple of guys, and one of them said, "That's the house man." And you know, that's when you
Yeah.
know people know who you are, you know, and that's when you got leads coming from so many sources because you're the house guy. And that's when
Well,
you made
well,
yourself
well,
known.
well what I've learned about marketing is you want to have a great marketing message.
Mhm,
Okay. You want to get that to the right people, the right market,
mhm,
geographically and demographically. So, demographically would be people that own houses or people that want to sell, right? Geographically, your farm area, right? So, you
mhm,
pick your market, you narrow the net as narrow as possible to achieve your goals. And then you want to get that great message to those people in multiple ways through multiple types of advertising media, and
mhm.
every way you can imagine of getting a message out, online and offline. Those are different pillars of marketing. So when you're a big fish in a small pond, you can have a lot of little things that are working that are not going to flood you with deals, but they're so cheap, you just do it consistently over time. And then you do the things you can turn on and turn off, like direct mail, and you're hitting the same area, and they see you over and over, and that's you. Then you become the house guy.
Right. That's exactly right. Well, well, tell me, Richard, let's get to some specifics for these guys that are listening right now. what is the key, in your opinion, to keeping a steady flow of leads coming in month after month after month?
I think you need to have a marketing plan, which is can be very simple. It's
Mhm.
like, okay, here's who I'm here. Okay, so you should have your message kind of put together and done, right? So you're just sending out the same message. My message is, how to sell your house as is at a fair price on the date of your choice. Now, you might have seen that around. Guess where everybody got it from?
Oh
That
yeah,
was, a lot. It's probably one of the most stolen thing. I got all my stuff has been stolen, but that's great. So, but very consistent message, and so you have a marketing plan to spend a certain amount of time or money every single month generating leads. I like flyers and direct mail because if you have a good message and you get it to the right person, if they're not ready, they'll keep it. And then you'll get those calls later when they are ready. Uh, so I can like I've worked with dozens of investors where all we did to generate all the leads they needed was direct mail. And now I would suggest they do some other things. That was our main thing because we could turn it on, turn it off, and it was working great. So what happens is these people, those cards lay around, and you get this response potential. And so it so you just consistently get your message out by planning it that way. And I suggest people to leverage their time, go ahead and spend money, do a deal, make some money, and then invest that money in marketing. If you don't have money, William,
right,
of course you can call sellers, right? You can call FISBOs, you can call on Craigslist. So you can do that labor intensive, go out and find a deal, right? But as quickly as possible, you want to have deals coming to you consistently. And
right,
to do it consistently, you just gotta have to consistently, run your marketing campaigns.
right.
And
So
and and
so
and
somebody,
and track it. Track your results. So
mhm,
whatever's
right.
working best, double up on that. Whatever's not working, replace it with something else.
Right. So you're getting started, you got nothing. You got no money, but you got time. So pick up the phone, call these FISBOs on Zillow, call FISBOs on Craigslist. What other things do you recommend for somebody that's broke?
Networking.
Hmm. So go to the
Okay. So
RIAs, meet other people.
any type of
That's what.
organization like the RIAs, the local
Mhm.
chamber, the local
So,
economic
mhm,
development council,
right.
charities. Hmm.
Right. Okay. So maybe you've got a little bit of money now. You flipped the house. You did this or did that. What is the best way to get into direct mail that's not super expensive? Because I'll tell you, I talked to a guy a couple of months ago on one of these episodes, and he talked about mailing out 5,000, 10,000 pieces, whatever. That's some significant. Well, I did direct mail, but I had a smaller, very, and that was the way that I did it. I've never been a 1,000 piece mailer kind of guy.
No. Okay. Yes. Well, what we would normally do is we would normally mail about 1,000 cards a month, which is about $500. Okay, and just very
Right.
consistently, right? And that's going to get you probably four deals a year. What's the average profit on my type of deals that are like 60,000, seventy
Mhm.
thousand.
Right.
Okay, so it's about
Mhm.
about $250,000 you spend between $6,000 and $12,000, you know, to make $250,000. All right,
Right.
but
Yeah.
I absolutely agree. These people that are suggesting you have to mail 5,000 or 10,000, it's because they have they don't have a good campaign. The
Mhm.
campaign you have to have a great message and a great list and a cost effective media. So postcards are very cost effective if you send it to the right people with the right message. So most of the
Mhm.
direct mail I see, William, because I'm setting up I have a program called $1 Million Postcards where we do the postcard mailing for people. I'm kind of
Mhm.
I retired for 5 years, so I'm setting that back up, and so I'm looking at what everybody else is sending, and some people are saying, yeah, direct mail's dead and stuff. It's because they're sending out crappy postcards and everybody's sending it to the same people.
Yeah, it's funny. Direct mail's dead. I hear about a lot of stuff that's dead. Bandit signs don't work either. But I've got a student that he's been in our coaching group for a month. He closed on his first deal yesterday. Bought it subject to. Already got a buyer with a $30,000 down payment. But bandit signs don't work. Okay.
No, bandit signs absolutely work,
Yeah.
and you just have to deal with the sign police.
Right.
And if it's too much trouble, because it is labor intensive to either get them out or manage somebody. So, there's pros and cons to every type of marketing campaign. But yeah, offline ads, directory ads, online ads, signs, postcards. Um, Trying to think of the other things. I mean, a lot of people are doing the blasting out of cold calling with VAs and texting. That works, and it can work a lot better if they had a better message or a better approach. I personally would rather send out postcards where they can ignore it, right? Versus sending them a text where they have to kind of respond and say, look, leave me alone, or yeah, I'm interested. I mean, I know that texting works, but I also know that there's some problems legally, and that down the road that might disappear.
Yeah.
I know that Facebook ads changed for people. When they changed Facebook, the ability to do ads on Facebook, all of a sudden a lot of people that might have been doing well had to readjust, or had to go more nationwide versus locally. So there's
Right.
those, you can't rely on just one thing. So I'm a big believer in direct mail, because you're the house guy. I'm the someone had called me the millionaire mailman or something like that.
Right.
Okay. Because they're targeted. You can get those smaller lists, right? Mail just a few hundred to the very targeted list and have that work, right?
Yeah.
The key is getting those very targeted lists. The
Right.
easiest list that you get, William, is the worst list. Okay. Like public record. Everybody's like right today selling public record. You can go get public record. But if you put together a list and nobody else has that list, it takes more effort to put it together, but it's a better list.
Right. I agree. So I'm a beginning investor. I flipped that house. I've got $500. I'm going to make a 1,000-piece mailing. What kind of list should I be looking at? I mean, what would get me the best results for that $500?
Well, there's different investing models, and of course, your main investing model is subject to, right? But you do other things, right? So, but the main model is subject to. The other models, like what everybody's being taught and what everybody's doing, and these people that are telling you to mail 5 or 10,000 postcards to make it work, are these wholesalers that can't find enough. They're leaving money on the table, because if they owe more than 60 cents on the dollar, it's not a deal. I say, well, send those leads to me. I'll convert those leads if they have a house for sale, because we can buy them subject to. Yeah, if they have a loan, they owe too much. So there's people are doing it wrong, and it's these people that are out there teaching people to wholesale, saying it's quick and easy. It is quick and easy, but but you got to find those deals. And if it's what I call marketing incest. Everybody's doing the same thing and thinking it's not going to be a problem. So if you had a small budget, or you had a budget, it depends on your investing model. So I think you can do those cheap cash deals when you come across them. Okay. But I would also make a multiple offer. I'd say, look, I can pay you 60 cents on the dollar. Or I can pay you 100 cents on the dollar if you be the bank for 30 years with no interest. Right. And then something in the middle. Right. So there's deals there. Now, if you're buying subject to, that's very good. And then if, like, some people they're trying to lease with the option to buy as their main model, that's close to subject to. So you can kind of have the same type of marketing campaign where people actually owe money on the house. And even if they owe 90 cents on the dollar, sometimes you can make those deals work, because you can buy at a slight discount and sell at a premium and make that spread. So I think if you're actually going to take title, William, that you should make at least 30,000
Right.
but you should probably make at least 7,000 a year. You're in the deal. So if you own it for 10 years, you should make at least 7,000 or 70,000, probably
Right.
100.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, so I would say it depends on their model. So are you saying if they want to do subject twos?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, well, most people that listen to us are sub two people. That's what they're
Yeah.
wanting to do.
So
So yeah,
yes. Well, you get a list of people. Uh, well, let me ask you, what you're the subject to expert. I mean, I teach it and I've done it hundreds of times, but what do you think is the best list for subject to?
well, their best results for us have come from people in foreclosure, targeting VAs, people that are close to military bases that have only owned the home a short period of time, don't have a lot of equity, probably don't have the money to pay a realtor, and then what I soon to expire MLA. We do mailings to those people. They're super small lists. Typically, you're talking about 50, less than 50 pieces at a time. But these are people, and remember, you're trying to ferret out your seller, okay? And you don't really know who your seller is, but we look for specific things. I'm looking for an MLS listing that's been listing at least 90 to 120 days. Most listings are 6 months, so they're halfway through or maybe a little more. There's been a price reduction. The house is vacant. I guess you could call it a form of MLS stacking, so to speak. So listed more than 90 days, price reduction, vacant home, and if it's got notes indicating motivation, seller motivated, bring all offers, seller must sell, that's over the top. So we're looking for three specific things. If it's got the fourth thing, it's great. And we'll send out a card to those people, even though it's listed, and say, hey, noticed your house has been for sale for a while without selling. We'd love to buy it. Give us a call if it expires or doesn't sell. And
Okay.
those people will pick up the phone almost immediately if they're our seller.
Okay. So, so mainly the first couple lists are people without much equity, right? That's what because you're
Well,
you're a
not
good
necessarily.
solution.
I mean, we bought some
Yeah.
foreclosures that had equity.
Okay. Okay. So the foreclosures are they're more motivated. They might be
Right,
motivated to sell,
right.
and of course, a lot of those people don't want to sell, right?
Yeah,
So if your marketing message, I have a great marketing message for pre foreclosures, which is, if you want to, save your equity. So we
mhm,
we say, look, we give them other options besides us buying the house. It's more of a
right.
customer service type of thing, a
Mhm,
community service where we're helping them understand their options. And then you provided that value, and they realize, well, those other options aren't very easy to get. Might as well sell the house because they put their head in the sand, and they do lose their equity if you don't come in and save them, right?
right.
Now, so you might have a message for pre foreclosure, but I'll tell you, I have one main message, and that's the same message I'll send to pre foreclosure. It's the same message I'll send to the VA, even
Mhm,
though you can build that affinity by letting them know that, hey, we know you're in VA, and the other as well as the MLS, where you could say, I know your house has been for sale. You might be able to build that affinity. But what I like to do, William, is send my magic bullet postcard because it works on every list,
mhm,
and it just says, hey, we're looking to buy houses in the area. Here's all the benefits that we offer. Give us a call if you're interested in selling. So even though that we know they're for selling or we know they're in foreclosure, we don't say that. So that might be something you might want to test, is instead of saying, I know your house has been on the market and hasn't sold, why don't you give us a call? Instead, just say, hey, I'm looking to buy houses. Do you have a house for sale?
mhm.
All right.
Right.
Okay. And that's what I do to foreclosure. Hey, I'm looking to buy houses in the area.
Mhm,
Uh, you know, now my foreclosure message is actually designed to help them get in touch with reality, that if they don't do something, they might lose what they got, right?
right.
Um, but I wouldn't do it on a postcard.
Yeah.
So with foreclosure, you want it to be private in a letter.
Right.
Um, but I can mail the Magic Bullet postcard because it doesn't say anything about foreclosure.
Mhm,
VA, if that was like you've created that as one of your markets, then I
mhm,
might adjust the message a little bit. saying, I'm targeting you because I specialize in properties with that have VA loans or owned by veterans or something like that. So that I would be okay with that.
Right.
Yeah, okay, so what was the question?
No, we're just I asked you what the the best
Oh,
list to pull
okay.
were, and you asked me what we were
Yeah, what
doing and what worked best for us, and I just said these over the years have been the best producers for us.
I would mail a really good postcard. I think I've probably got the best, but I would personalized, personal looking, very well written postcard that merges their name and address into it, and but it
Mhm,
looks like you just typed it out and you send
mhm,
it to one person. Kind of looks, even
right,
though you can tell it's automated, right? Or but it looks personal, so it gets
right,
attention. It's personalized, and then yeah, hit those targeted lists with that.
right.
That's yeah. So really good postcard, which is cheap, and it's very cost effective. In fact, marketing is not an expense, William.
Mhm,
It's an investment.
right.
So that's what you want to track everything is what is your return on investment. And you know what's good about this business is you
What's
can
that?
make a lot of money with crappy marketing.
Oh yeah, that's right. Well, and that's what I tell people all the time. It's people stress over what should it say, what should my mailing piece say, and I said it really, yeah, you need a good message, but it's not so important what you say as that you just say something. Just get something in their hands is better than worrying about it and not doing a mailing. You
All
know,
right. Yeah. But I think you can come up with something that has worked in the past that is pretty good and it's not salesy. It's either all of your
Mhm,
marketing, William, should either look personal or
mhm,
advertorial. And
right,
advertorial makes it look like content or
mhm,
valuable content or a public service announcement
right,
or something like that. Otherwise, making it personal or read personal, come across personal, not whatever. Here's all those crappy postcards I was telling you about that the wholesalers are doing that they're saying they have to mail thousands of cards to make it work. It's because they're targeting people sometimes that they don't even know if they have a house for sale or not, and they're saying,
mhm,
I want to buy your house, and if you want to sell your house fast, I'll pay you all cash. Well, guess what? Every seller on the planet expects all cash,
yeah, oh, yeah,
and most sellers on the planet are not in a hurry,
mhm,
right? We know this because we want those sellers calling us because we're going to just, hey, if you're not ready or if we can't work now, we're going to, well, let's talk about it later. You can give me a call if something changes, right? We're going to nurture that relationship. That's what you got to do is that's why you want to be a big fish in a small pond so you can nurture the relationship. And even if you follow up and you're really intent on helping them achieve whatever they're trying to do with the house. And if you can't help them, you give them advice but you follow up and maybe eventually they sell the house and you stop following up. But
mhm,
during that period where you either buy the house or not, you're providing value, you're building a relationship, and they start sending you referrals. They become your private investors. They become your buyers. I do that. A lot of good things. Again, a lot of the things that can make you successful is more of the strategy behind it. Like, for example, offering to trade properties. If you're going after people that can't afford their mortgage anymore, William, isn't it nice to say, hey, if you need to move into something more affordable, perhaps I have some properties, perhaps we can trade properties.
mhm,
That's another, it's just giving them another reason to call you. So
yeah,
here's in your marketing message, yeah, it can be just adequate, but it should be a bunch of reasons why they should call you. And you shouldn't be like making promises that you don't know or that you can't keep. Well, for example, I can help you solve your problem. Well, number one, how do you know? And number two, I don't have a problem,
yeah.
right?
We had a guy submit a lead to us from our website this past week. It said, and one of the questions we ask is, how soon do you want to get this done? And it's a drop down. One of the choices is ASAP, and that's what he chose. But when I called him and got him on the phone, he said, "Yeah, my son starts college in 2 years, and we want to be out of here by then." So ASAP somehow turned into 2 years. So he wasn't a very motivated seller, but he submitted a
But
form on our website. So.
Okay, now,
checking it out.
but now, what do you, I think that is fine, right? That is kind of funny, but he's going to go on my contact list. Here's what
Oh,
you want to do.
absolutely.
All right, here's what you want to do. Your intention is to build your contact list of
Right.
buyers, sellers, and everybody you could. That's why you want to go out and network. Build your contact list. Build your relationships. Go out and find centers of influence. Take people to lunch that might be in touch with your market, and work your contact list. So what I recommend people do is once they have a contact list, 3 or 4 times a year, you just send out like a newsletter or a newsletter postcard or just a message saying, well, I'll give you an example. Once a year, we send them a calendar greeting card,
Mhm.
everybody on my contact list. And it's a nice calendar. I go around town and I see my calendar in businesses and stuff. At the bottom is a little classified ad. It says, sell your house as is at a fair price on the day of your choice, free recorded message, website. It's not just my name and phone number,
Mhm.
right? It's a little classified ad.
Right.
And but when we send out that calendar, we put a little hand typed note which reminds them what we do for buyers, what we do for sellers.
Right.
And yeah, I'm sure when you're in the business a long time, you get a lot of referrals. You
Oh,
take
yeah.
care of people too.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Sub 2 Deals Show with your host, Sub 2 expert William Tingle. We'll be right back. Hey Sub-Tours, do you want to learn how to get the deed but need a little help getting started? Want to learn how to fill out the paperwork, how to use a land trust, how to market for deals, how to negotiate with sellers, and more? Join us in the Sub 2 Deals Facebook coaching group. Get the benefits of one-on-one coaching without the big price tag. Learn to do Sub 2 right with coaching in a group setting and mastermind format. Head over to sub2deals.com right now and click on consulting and group coaching. We'll save you a seat. Back to the show, the Sub 2 Deals Show with your host, Sub 2 expert William Tingle.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's great. What we've started doing this year, I mean, I was famous for lack of follow-up. If I couldn't make a deal out of it right now, it sort of got forgotten. You might put it on the calendar, call back Joe or whatever like that. But I mean, my follow-up system was a yellow pad. It didn't work out. We started using REI Black Book. And I mean, now when we talk to somebody and they're not ready, we just put them in the automated list and it just
Well,
reaches out to them every so
well,
often.
I'll tell you what. About 9 or 10 years ago, I was wanting to put together a CRM
Mhm.
for real estate investors with my
Right.
best follow-up emails, my
Mhm.
best my best copy, my best practices all set up for them. Okay,
Right.
in a CRM. I talked to Infusionsoft
Mhm.
because that was my CRM, but it was mostly for my information marketing business. It was too expensive, too elaborate for investors.
Yeah.
So I wanted to create my template in their system and
Mhm.
offer that done for you, right? But it was too expensive for investors, so I just kind of dropped it.
Right.
Um, Recently, when I kind of starting everything back, I was looking out there for, well, who has a good one? Because people need it. People would always ask me, "What do you use?" And I didn't have a good answer because I didn't use one they could use. So now I got a hold of REI Black Book, Damon over there.
Mhm.
Now, instead of me creating a CRM, I'm going to go ahead and put my best practices and my marketing copy and my marketing tools and my
Right.
deal structuring software on their platform.
Mhm.
And that's their expertise is providing great customer service and a great product. And I can just use it, but also beef it up, use it
Right.
as a, so I'm doing that over the next few months and I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah. I'll tell you, man, that REI Black Book, it's so, we work on that thing all the time. It's a lot to that program. It really is.
Right. And is it too much? Do you get enough instruction? Because I want to make it simple.
Well, I mean, they're working on stuff all the time as far as training, and they recently started offering a sort of set it up for you, which they really needed. It's pricey, but when you consider all the hours that like Jody and I have put into it, getting it set up, when you look at a cost per hour basis, it's well worth it. because you can spend your time doing something else more productive.
Yeah, that's right. What should you be doing? You want
Yeah,
to delegate and outsource anything you possibly can.
right.
Yes, write those checks, but make sure you're writing it to good people, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And I created a done for you real estate investor website about 9 years ago, and I want to offer that again. So I'm working with some programmers and stuff in REI Black Book to get that onto REI Black Book as a template, because they have
Mhm.
templates. They have
Oh, yeah.
an authority. They have an authority template. They have buyer site, a seller site. I think you should have what's called an authority or hub site, or what I call a money site, where it's building your credibility. People want to know, especially today, William, people want to know who they're dealing with. They want to know about you. And so
Mhm.
I help people kind of put together their credibility pack, even though they have no credibility,
Oh, yeah.
and get that on their website, because that's what people want. And then have the website designed to give out all the reasons why they should fill out that form or call you, right? So you send postcards out, and they can call you or go to the website. They go to the website, it says call me or fill out this form, right?
Mhm.
And so the entire site is designed to give them multiple reasons to either call you or fill out, submit their property information, get on your,
Right.
and and so I'm setting that up on REI Black Book. Also, my done for Magic Bullet postcard, and some really other cool new direct mail pieces that I'm creating for real estate investors.
Mhm.
Um, I'm setting that up, and we're going to offer that through REI Black Book as well. They currently have some postcards for Profit Drive, and
Mhm.
but again, a lot of them are just those crappy postcards. There's a few
Right.
good ones. In fact, the best ones on there are mine that were stolen by their print service that they're using.
Right.
But that's okay. That's my notice postcard. Notice,
Right.
attention homeowner. That
Right.
that was mine. But they don't have, or nobody's actually duplicated my Magic Bullet postcard, because it's not just a static design or message. No one's really duplicated that. I haven't seen that stolen too much. I've seen some very successful people out there teaching mailing that are using a version of that, like their modified version of that, and it's very successful. And as long
Right.
as it's their modified version, that's more power to them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. So many questions out of what you're saying. I'm just writing these things down. Uh, what do you recommend? Again, now remember, most of the people we're talking to are just getting started. They don't have a tremendous budget. But even if you scale, what do you recommend as far as how to deliver these postcards? Do you hire a service that produces them and mails them and the whole 9 yards? Do you just have them printed and shipped to someone who does it for you? What do you recommend?
Okay. I used to teach people how to go to clicktomail.com.
Hmm.
I'd give them a template that they can upload as a background, and on the background it had some handwritten notes, squigglies, a signature, right? And click the mail, you'd post that text in there, you'd format it into an old typewriter font, you'd make sure that it doesn't go off the screen. You set it up, and once it's set up, you can just use it over and over and over. It's very difficult to set up. It's a very bad platform. It takes forever. I tried to reuse it recently, and it's just a terrible interface. But it's once you get it set up, they'll mail it uh, pretty cost effectively. But I have it set up with iNet USA with my $1 million postcards, and it's actually cheaper than doing it yourself on Click to Mail, I believe.
Mhm.
And it shouldn't be and I found one other person that can actually do it cheaper, but it's not about it's but uh there's some added services that you get. So I wouldn't, whether you're paying 35 cents a card or 42 cents a card shouldn't make a big difference.
Right.
Okay. But it
Mhm.
should be less than 50 cents a card plus your list.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So we're mailing cards right now for like around 42 cents with,
And
plus
right. And who do you go through to do that?
$1 million postcards, iNet USA. So that's what we're doing. I'm meeting with Tim Yandel over in Cocoa Beach on Saturday. I'm visiting Florida right now, and I'm going to meet him and get all that kind of. We've been working on it, and hopefully Monday we have like an online interface. But right now, for my clients that want to mail postcards, we're just modifying the copy and they're getting their list and then sending it over to Tim and they're mailing cards. So they're kind of manually doing it before we have it like real easy where people can just go online, put in their information, have it done, you know.
Right. Mhm.
But so yeah, REI Black Book, they use a service that they've been using for a while, connected with Profit Drive, which is REI Print Mail.
Mhm.
So that's one of the services out there so I've checked out all the services, and then there's one that I haven't explored. I just found out about it yesterday. They're saying that they can mail for 30 cents a card.
Yeah.
I need to figure out how they do that. 'Cause how can they? But 30 cents versus 42, yeah. So I'll check it out, and I'm in the process of collaborating with the best people in our industry, William. That's why I'm on your interview.
Oh, well, I appreciate that, Richard. We appreciate you being here. I try to do the same thing. That's why I've got you here. So I want to give the best information that we can. Tell me, you mentioned a credibility kit. What would that consist of if an investor wanted to put that together?
All right. When you set up a business, you're as a real estate entrepreneur, you're either taking the mom and pop approach, like Richard buys houses, right? Or you're taking the corporate approach, is like, bestsellbyowner.com, right? A company, right? Or best sell by owner LLC or whatever. So it's a company approach or a mom and pop approach. So I like the mom and pop approach. Actually, I like saying I have a company. My company buys houses, but then they want to know who you are. So you want to be more personal no matter what you're doing. Okay. So in your credibility kit, yeah, let them know who you are. So anything that you've done that gives you credibility your entire life, go ahead and put that together in a credibility pack. If you've ever been written up in the newspaper in a positive way, if you've ever been interviewed, if you wrote articles, I put all my advertorials in my credibility kit. But I've testimonials. You can give examples of stories, hero stories with your clients, certifications, trainings, other business awards outside of the industry. Anything that shows that you're a good person and that you're smart, intelligent, integrity, honest, and that you're maybe if you're involved in the community. So I have a list. I have an article on that somewhere, but it might be on reiclub.com. But that's an old article, but it's the same thing. It's evergreen. Certifications. I'm trying to think what else. And then a cover letter, right? So, okay, what I recommend, as soon as you get a call from a potential deal, go ahead and send them out an information package. And so my information package has my credibility kit, it has my $100 business card, might throw a pin in there that has a little classified ad on it. And it'll have a cover letter saying, hey, it was great talking to you, or handwritten note. It was great talking to you. I hope to talk to you soon. And it's just, you just automatically send it out. Now, what I'm doing, William, is I'm setting that up with my postcard mailing service. I'm setting that up so that you can just have your credibility kit automatically. You just send an email to us and it automatically goes out, right? So you don't have to put it together, mail it out and all that. You push a button somewhere and it gets done. There's a lot of direct mail tools that you can do to nurture the relationship, not only to get leads, William, but to convert your leads.
Right.
That we all know that works, like thank you notes, right? Do thank you notes work?
Yeah.
How often do you get a thank you note, William?
Not very. Not very.
All right. And when you get them, they make an impression.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because it's like, wow, that's really unusual today, but yeah, it's special.
And everybody knows this and they don't do it. So
Right.
Number one, no one's told them to do it. So I'm going to say, go ahead and do it. Okay. Number two, they're not going to do it because it's just another thing they need to do. And it's not urgent. And there's no immediate, deal out of it. Right. But we know it will improve the relationship, and people appreciate it and they'll remember it.
Mhm.
And that's marketing, right? So if we do it for you, if we make it easy for you to just like automatically, a seller comes in, they get the credibility kit, and then 2 days later they get a thank you card, and then a few weeks later they get some valuable information like report or something that either some type of campaign that you can automatically start, but you can also turn it off once it doesn't apply anymore. And that's what REI Black Book can do. REI
Mhm.
Black Book creates those workflows.
Right.
So that's why I asked if it's easy, because you either need to learn what the best workflows are from them and apply them, or create your own. So I'm going to create the Roop workflows in REI Black Book, what I would recommend. But first, I'm going to see what they got, because they're pretty smart already.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. It is. I would not say setting it up is easy. But yeah, it's very powerful program. And so, we're excited to have it. So, okay. So let me ask you this, Richard. I'm a relatively new investor. I'm getting started in town. I want to work locally. I want to be a big fish in a small pond. Okay. Break this thing down for me now. Make it simple. Talk to me like I'm 3 years old. That's what Denzel Washington said in Philadelphia. Explain it to me like I'm 3 years old. What do I need to do today? How do I get started? What steps do I put in place to get things kicked off?
Well, if we're starting like a new investor,
Right. I want to generate leads. I want to make myself known. Just give me, the 3 minutes. This is how you set
okay.
it up. These are the things you need to do.
Okay, what would they do if a seller called them and said, I have a house for sale? What would they do, this new investor?
Mhm.
Would they be prepared to take the call and pre-screen it and
Yeah,
gather the
they
information?
had learned some concepts. They knew how to take over payments. But what they're trying
So
to
they're
do now is they're wanting to
yeah,
generate leads. They want to be known. What are the most immediate steps they can take to make that move the fastest?
no, okay. Number one, you got to realize you don't want to generate leads or be known. What you want to do is buy houses.
Right. I got
Okay,
you.
so now work it backwards. Work it
Mhm.
backwards. If you're going to buy a house, you have to make an offer. In order to make an offer, you need the property information sheet. In order to get the property information sheet, you need the seller to submit it to you online or give it to you over the phone.
Mhm.
Okay. So guess what? You need to talk to sellers,
Right.
right? So you focus on talking to sellers. Now, what can you do? You're brand new, you have no money, or maybe you have some money. What can you do to talk to sellers? Let's say you have no money. What can you do to talk to sellers?
Well, you can pick up the
Knock
phone
on
and call.
doors, call,
Yeah.
call, call sellers, right? So
Right.
what can you do to be talking to sellers? Now, here's how I force people to become successful is I force them to talk to sellers. How do I do that? We send out 1,000 postcards,
Right.
right? Okay.
That's right.
Now you can post signs. You can post signs. I don't know. I don't know if Craigslist is a place to, advertise that you buy houses. Does anybody do that?
We've done it in the past. The biggest problem you run into that are people that flag your post and get it taken down, other people in the
Oh,
area. Yeah.
okay. So it's not working. But you can find sellers on Craigslist. You can find sellers online. You can find sellers on Zillow, right? I don't target any listed properties. It's okay if you're going after, expired listings that are almost going to expire.
Mhm.
Expired listings is a good targeted market, but
Right.
it's also an easy market to get. So a lot of people are like targeting, FISBOs on Zillow. Well, that's
Mhm.
easy to get. So everybody's doing it and they're getting inundated with calls, texts, and postcards.
Right.
Or maybe I don't even know if they're getting postcards. They probably are. They should be. But the people to talk to are the people that were for sale by owner 6 months ago.
Right.
The people to talk to are the people that are advertising a house for rent 6 months ago.
Right.
The people that they talk to are the people that had their house listed 6 months ago. They
Mhm.
listed their house 6 months ago and it hasn't sold. So you're going to find out, well, it's sold. Okay, fine. Oh yeah, no, it's still for sale, right? So Yeah, everybody go after the non-obvious seller. So that's what I don't like about calling sellers, is they're an obvious seller. The other thing you could do is you can target some of those niche lists, like the people in pre-foreclosure.
Mhm.
They're not a obvious seller, but they're obviously a distressed. If it's a public list, right?
Right.
They're obviously distressed, and there's other investors that are going to be targeting them. Now you can just be better at your approach and your personality, and your nurture the relationship and provide value, and give it time and be helpful. And that's going to be different than a lot of the other investors, right? That are saying, you want to sell your house, you want to sell your house. So that list, it's better. Here's what I taught. I was going through some my first boot camp. I did a training course with real, you were talking, you told me you had dinner with William Broncheck,
Mhm.
and he's one of my mentors, and he's my attorney. And I did my first training was back in 2001. I did a seminar for the Colorado Association of Real Estate Investors, Bill's organization at the time. And I created how to collect five-figure paychecks, buying and selling houses, right? That was my first course. My second course was marketing mastery for real estate entrepreneurs, like in 2004. And my son just got those videos online because we sent them out as DVDs over the years. So I watched it. I haven't seen it forever. And everything I'm teaching in that still applies today. It's like evergreen stuff, all of these
Mhm.
strategies. All right. So what I was going to say on that, what were we talking before, just about before that? Before, what were
Oh,
you,
about putting together a marketing plan if you're just getting started. What
just
would you?
getting, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
What would you?
The foreclosure list. Okay.
Right. Mhm.
Too much competition. So on that video, I said, what you do is you line up a local real estate attorney, and you create a video. And now you can do it with Zoom, and it doesn't have to, but someone who knows your foreclosure laws in your state.
Mhm.
Okay. And you create an informational video and explain to a homeowner who's in pre-foreclosure or foreclosure what their rights and options are, right? So
Mhm.
you put together this informational video, and of course you can transcribe it and create a report and stuff, and you offer that in your marketing. So you advertise free video. Are you facing foreclosure? Free video explains your rights and options, and now you're building a list that not everybody is targeting, because you're getting the people that are in foreclosure, pre-foreclosure, and the people that know there's trouble on the horizon,
Mhm.
and they now they're nobody knows that they're facing but them. That is it takes more work, right? But you can build a proprietary. When I told you, when you build your own list, that's the best list,
Right.
and
Yeah.
that so you could still do that today.
Yeah. Absolutely. Gosh, Richard, we could talk all day about marketing. I know we've been on here over an hour now, but so we could probably do, I don't know, a several hour
We
podcast on it.
Yes.
But I know you're out there in Florida. I know you got a busy day today. Any final thoughts that you want to share with anybody listening about what they can do to increase their meetings with sellers and their business?
Yes. Back when I was in Hawaii working with Dr. Tad James at Advanced Neurodynamics, where we were doing these personal growth and development programs, we actually had an infomercial where we um, called this. I published his book called The Secret of Creating Your Future, and we had an infomercial called The Secret of Creating Your Future. We sold like 35,000 audio programs on late night TV. But there's this book called The Secret of Creating Your Future, and I would recommend you go get it. You can find an audio version of it on YouTube. It's called The Secret of Creating Your Future, but you can go online, nlpcoaching.com, or buy it anywhere, maybe off of Amazon. And it's just a simple book, but it changed my life, and I've always given it to all my coaching clients and my students. I just give it out, and I recommend it. But what it does, it's a process for laying out what you want ideally and how to create your own future. So related to that, what I would recommend everybody do is just get really clear on what you want your business to look like in 6 months.
Mhm.
Okay. Get really clear. Ideally, what do you want your business to look like in 6 months? And without any limitations on your thinking. I call it mindstorming. Actually, that's my company, Mindstorm Marketing. And spend some time setting a goal like that, and get really clear on it as if it already happened. And notice how wonderful it is to be what you're doing and how things are happening exactly how you want. And then write that down and visualize it, but then turn around and look, okay, how did I get here? Right? How did I get here? What things happened? Now, all of a sudden, the way to get to that ideal situation 6 months from now will now start to materialize, and you'll see it. And you can take those actions. So now go ahead and put together your plan on how you're going to get there. And just like I just showed you, work it backwards. What's your goal? Right? I said, what is your goal? You want to buy houses, and then we work it backwards, right? So what do you want how many houses do you want to be buying? You want to be consistently buying a house a month, every month within 6 months or more, right? Or less, right? Whatever your real estate business goals are at that time, and then commit to it, set it a goal. The only reason why you don't set goals unless you're committed to them. Okay. You don't set goals because you want a direction, right? You don't shoot for the stars to wind up on the moon. No, you shoot for the moon and wind up on the moon.
Mhm.
Okay. So it's just a different mindset. So yeah, get really clear on how you want your career and your business and your income and your life to look, and then create a goal plan to get there. And part of that plan is, once you know what you want, then you need to figure out how to get there, right? That's next. And that comes from, okay, yeah, I need better marketing, or I need some coaching, right? I need some more information. I need to learn, how to deal with, tenant buyers. Maybe I need to learn the paperwork. I need, I don't know how to handle the calls yet, or I'm not handling the calls well. I mean, there's all those just basic elements, is that I'm sure you have a great training, William, that teaches them all that stuff. There are certain areas that they probably need to improve and focus in on.
Right.
And for a lot of people, yeah, how do you get more leads?
Mhm.
But it's not just getting more leads, it's converting more of your leads into deals. And that, just by becoming a better negotiator or deal structurer, for the same amount of marketing money, you can make more money. You'll close more deals. And follow up. If you just follow up on your leads, you're going to double your business. If you just follow up on your leads. So just become better at those basics.
Mhm. Right. Well, Richard, I know that you do coaching as far as marketing and all those sorts of things. If somebody wanted to reach you to talk to you about that, what would be the best way to get in touch with you?
Everybody should go to richardroop.com. richardroop.com. Okay. And that's ROOP, like in poop. richardroop.com. And you should get on my e-letter. It's a free newsletter. I send out a lot of the things we're talking about, what's working best now, and what are some good marketing strategies, and how to solve these current issues, especially like today with, what's the changes in the economy and being able to do things virtually. What's the latest updates, but it's also the basics. So I give out hundreds of dollars worth of like free training and content each month in my newsletter. I also let you know, if I'm doing any events or anything like that, or offering any services. So yeah, get on my newsletter. And then you can follow me on, like you do, follow me on social media, like Facebook and LinkedIn.
Okay, great. All right, Richard. Well, thanks so much for being here today, man. Ton of information. I'm sure everybody appreciates it tremendously.
Well, let's do it again sometime. I really appreciate it. It was fun.
Yeah, it was. Okay, great. Well, Sub-Tours, that's it for this episode of the Sub-2 Deal Show podcast. You can find the show notes for this episode along with a complete transcript at sub2podcast.com. If you enjoyed this episode, we would absolutely love it if you would subscribe and give us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts. It only takes a minute and helps others discover the show. Finally, if you haven't yet, and I don't know why you wouldn't, you can join us at our free Facebook Subject To group at sub2forum.com. And until next time, keep learning, keep talking to sellers, keep marketing, and you will buy some houses. Catch you next time.